Good morning, church. Just a few additional thoughts concerning faith versus fear. Even now, as we isolate in our homes, many in the world prepare for the Passover celebration. As I think about Passover, I wonder about the timing of our own stay in place order. I'm thinking, what an opportunity for God to speak to our hearts. What an opportunity for God to make us ready for what's about to come next. God's people were instructed to stay in place after covering their doorposts with the blood of the Lamb. As they waited inside their homes, the people of Israel did not know what to expect next. They believed God had sent Moses through prophetic utterances that had came long ago. They believed that Moses was going to be the fulfillment of that deliverance, but they weren't really quite sure. Yet in their spirits, as they waited in their homes, they knew change was coming. Already a shift had begun. Church, I have the same sense of shift in my own spirit. I just sense the hour of God's timeline has changed. The hour hand has moved. This is not judgment on the church, because judgment is passing over God's beloved bride, just as it passed over God's chosen nation thousands of years ago. You see, saints, in every season, God will always have his way according to his own will and his own timeline. The question is, will you and I be a part of what God wants to do next? Will we recognize God when he moves? Will we move when God moves? These are questions we have to ask ourselves. In preparation for change, there may be a few things that you and I need to have happen within our hearts. There may be change that has to happen. The first thing you have to do when you're going to go to a new place is you have to leave the old place. Now that might sound silly. Of course, if I go to a new place, I'm going to leave the old place. But you see, that was part of Israel's problem. They didn't really leave when they left. They took some of the same attitudes with them. The second thing, there may be things that you can't take with you. There may be things you have to leave behind. Some of the things that were tolerated in Egypt will not be tolerated in the land of promise. Some of the things that are tolerated in the last season will not be able to come with you into God's next season. It may not be a surprise to you, but we do have to change. Change must occur sometimes. Only God can identify and speak to you about these things. It's not that he loves you and I less. It's just that we can't bring some things with us. After leaving Egypt, the Israelites gave us three very obvious examples of attitudes and things not to bring to the new place. The first was fear. They feared the ensuing enemy. They feared that the very thing God delivered them from would take them back over. You can't be in fear and be in faith at the same time. The next thing was doubt. They doubted God's promises. They doubted God's words. They even doubted God's intentions. Why did God bring us here, Moses? To kill us in the desert? And the third thing is they committed idolatry. And this is a big one. God's been speaking to me about this one. Remember the golden calf? It didn't take long for them to melt down all the plunder of Egypt, the very resource that God gave them to go forward into a promise, and they turned it into idolatry. Let God speak to your heart about idolatry. I know he's speaking to me. It's a big problem in my life. It's a big problem in the church. We cannot go forward with fear, doubt, and especially idolatry. Brothers and sisters, let's decide together to let God deal with our hearts during this time. Let's let God make use of this stay in place time. And let's stay in place and let's draw near to God. The promise is he'll draw near to you and speak to you. The attitude of my heart is reminded to me out of Psalm 51, and I pray this today for you as well. Create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. Saints, that's my prayer. I pray that it would be your prayer also, that God would not only prepare you for what he's about to do and where he's about to bring us, but that he would move mightily within our spirits and within our hearts and within our minds and change us through his touch so that we can go forward and free of some things that would hold us back. God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful day.